Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hey, Travis, how you doing? How's the camping trip going? Ah, good. You got nice weather. Hey, back one. What's going on? Raj, how you doing, brother? Hey, Jury. How are you? Ah. Well, folks, I fear it's going to be a pretty slow session. It's a really tight overnight profile we've got going here. Let's see if we get any movement. There's When it's slow like this, a lot of people get frustrated and try and push it. Got to remember tomorrow's month end, and we're going into a holiday long weekend. It's a bit difficult. Um, I'll bring your attention to this area here between sort of 76 and 80. That's where we had a spike at the end of the day. And when you have those spikes, you look to see if that area will get, if we retrace back down to that area. So far, I was on a coaching call with somebody and we were watching that 83 low and it just couldn't break. So we got rotation back up. It's a very difficult market to trade. The only way to trade this is to put a position together and then sell into strength. Um, not, it's not a scalper's market right now. Let's go take a look and see what I was talking about. There's that 77 to 79 short position from the end of the day when the market got thrown up. And an O period closed higher. Overnight inventory is mixed right now, so it's just going back and forth. We have a poor low and we have a poor high. So we've got a poor low and a poor high. That means the market is just running in what we call a box or a wholesale box, where the size traders are just, there's the middle of it. Above 86 they're a seller, below 86 they're a buyer. And that's the way, if you want to trade this, that's what you're going to do if you want to trade it. Now, we looked down below in J period, we couldn't get any lower. Holding 86 means we're going to go when London opens. Now London's going to open 24 minutes from now. If London opens and it can't take out the overnight low, it'll either go sideways, which is going to annoy the hell out of everyone, or it'll take out that K and J highs from the 22nd. These are our upper stops, and I'll put them in the room for folks, right? And the upper stops just give us targets. There's our, just so you know where we're at, that 64.98 half area, that's the all-time high, and oh, sorry, 65.02 is the all-time high. So there's 98 and then the all-time high above it. So we're just kind of sitting here waiting for, for the market to show us direction. It's not going to be a great trading night. Um, you know, it's great for watching because you can understand how structure works and all those kinds of good things. But if you're a trader and you know what you're doing, your best bet is to go to the gym. You know, your sort of best bet is to go do something enjoyable, get some rest, take it easy. Month end is, you know, month end is a time where wholesale traders and people who work in the business, they just want to get through it, right? Um, Retail traders have a tendency to blow up their accounts and make big mistakes at the end of the month because they get desperate to make money. And no matter how desperate you are, never ever do it in the market because it's never going to work out. Don't ever trade from a mindset of desperation. You'll make really bad decisions. So people are like, "Well, JJ, what do we do?" What you're supposed to do when the market gets like this is really what you're supposed to be doing is reviewing your month, looking at where you could have done better, looking at where you did well, reviewing your trades, um, that kind of thing, right? If you're a position trader and you're long between 83 and 84, sell some here at 86. I don't see a short. I see a poor low. I don't see a great long either right now because there's a poor high at 89. Yeah. What do we have for news today? We have Nvidia after the close, right? Hey, Monica, how are you? Yeah, it's pretty quiet, pretty slow. I haven't taken a trade yet. Yeah, when you see, one thing that may help folks is a lot of people really don't understand when they should be doing business and when they shouldn't be doing business. Um, when you see candle patterns that are like this, especially in the middle of a zone, you really don't want to trade it. The balance I used this morning, and I borrowed it from Renee actually, it was 86 to 88 and a half. It's a 2.5 point balance zone. So if you are taking trades, manage your expectations. Don't overtrade. You know, just realize that it's a business, right? Market closed above. I'm sorry, it closed above what, Mohammed? Hey Moran, how you doing? Your question is market closed above that. What does that mean? What did it close above? It closed above the entire day's trading? Is that what you're asking? Okay. When you're ready, let me know. Sorry. Love to answer questions, but you could just kind of, you guys, when you're asking a question, if you could like type it out so I could give you a good answer, that'd be great. Good morning, London Futures Trader. How you doing? It'll be a bit of a shortened session today. How do you deal with these ranges? The last 2 days have killed me. It's impossible to tell when it's a range. I always think it will break to a new, but it's just sideways. Avalon, you have to understand, you guys understand that this is a business, right? Right? Like you guys understand that trading is a business, right? So let's take that one step further, right? I'm not sure where you are, Avalon, but the US is going to have its largest holiday, which celebrates the end of summer. When that happens, business slows to a crawl, right? So what you do is, if you can find a sideways range to trade the edges of, you can do that. I prefer not to trade. Are you guys, does that make sense? Like you understand that it's a business and there are certain times in business that are not going to be optimal, right? Do you guys get that? Does that make sense? Like you got to kind of look at things in a practical manner sometimes. I know trading they talk a lot about setups and risk reward and moving averages and indicators, but sometimes you just got to take a good old plain look at the business, right? And that's what we do at the trading syndicate. We teach you not to drive yourself crazy because you look at the calendar and you go, "Oh, it's month end. Maybe I'll just kind of chill out. It might be really crappy price action. We might be range bound. So maybe I'll go to the beach." Does that, Avalon, I'm not sure if you're listening to me or if that's registering with you, because unfortunately it really doesn't register with a lot of people. And that's why people have a hard time in this business because, first of all, they don't acknowledge that it's a business and that in business sometimes it's just slow. So, Monica, how am I preparing for NVIDIA? I would be flat, right? Because if you're holding a position, right, you have a thesis about the earnings. Now, if you're a large trader and you have a lot of money where you can be wrong, that's great. But I don't hold stocks into earnings. I would never do that because for me, trading is about risk management and doing business and being there tomorrow. So I'm not going to take trades that put me at unnecessary risk. Does that make sense? I would be flat. Does that help you, Monica? I've been around for 33 years, right? I avoid, where some people will be walking and they see, they'll see a hole in the road, and some people will put their foot in it to see how deep it is, and they, fall into a big hole. I prefer to walk around, right? So, Mohammed, buying pressure, yes, the market closed higher because people got caught short, right? And tomorrow is month end, so people want to cover their shorts, so that buying pressure marked up the price of the market. Yeah, see, Avalon, you can't really be in business if logic goes out the window. For example, Avalon, if you were a dentist, right? Like, close your eyes and pretend you were a dentist. And business was a little slow, right? Would you go out into the street and get people to come into your clinic so you could just randomly start pulling teeth out? You have to do what you have to do to pretend that you're at work. And retail trading's hard because you're in a room by yourself. You don't have anybody. It doesn't feel like a work environment. Maybe what you should do to get discipline, Avalon, is maybe put on a suit when you trade or something. Do something to remind yourself that this is a job. Does that kind of make sense? Like, you wouldn't be able to do any other kind of work and say that logic goes out the window. Right? Like, say if you're a surgeon and it's kind of slow, so you just randomly start removing organs out of people because logic goes out the window. Try and reframe how you think, right? Now, for me, when you guys talk like this, it blows me away because I grew up in the business, right? From 1993, I've been in the markets, right? So I was a young man, so all of this lack of discipline and where logic goes out the window, that just wasn't tolerated. Like, if any of you ever have a job, think about how your behavior, if you're having trouble trading, if you're having trouble with discipline, right? Think about how that would go over if you did that at work, right? You're working at McDonald's and all of a sudden you just start throwing French fries at people's heads, right? Does that kind of help? Like, try and reframe it and put it into a work-like atmosphere. Maybe you'll take it a little bit more seriously. I'm not beating up on you. This is something I get. And I was just on a call with somebody not 45 minutes ago, and I was telling her that, mark my words, at this time of month, I will get messages from people who are blowing up their accounts, over trading, and losing money going into the end of the month. Happens every time, right? You guys have to know when to do business and when not to do business. It's really as simple as that. And if you don't view trading as a business, you're never going to make any money doing it. You have to regard it as a job, right? Everybody says, I want to quit my job and trade. Well, trading is going to be the hardest job you ever had because retail trading is the hardest job in finance. It's just that simple, right? Retail trading, where you have no glory and it's all work, right? It's not easy. You're undercapitalized, you're undereducated, right? So it's not easy to make a buck. That's why, I really respect people who trade retail and trade retail well, because they're very few and far between, right? Hey, Alexander, what's going on? Right? Sorry, Monday is the holiday, Moran. It's Labor Day. So, if you're a futures trader, it's always good to know a little bit about North American culture. You don't have to know everything, but Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, US Thanksgiving, these are the big, big holidays. And that's when the big traders are away from their screens. Because if you made $300 million already this year, would you be sitting in front of your screen with price action like this? Right? So what you need to do, Avalon, when markets get slow, get up and walk away from the computer. For some people, that's the only way that they can control themselves. Right? Like, as soon as I came in, I turned on the machine, I opened up Sierra Chart, and I saw that profile, right? I was like, oh man, this is going to be horrible. Right? Right? It's brutal. You guys, right? So when you see a market like this, right? It's just stuck like this. Let me try and help you visualize this, right? I'll show you a picture. You guys familiar with this? When you throw a basketball up and it gets stuck between the rim and the backboard, right? Look at that. Look at that. I know this is like Sesame Street, but these two things are pretty similar, right? That and that, right? This is the problem with trading. The problem with trading is that when you look at a chart, unless you've worked in the industry, and even to people who have worked in the industry, they cannot visualize what is going on behind the chart, right? So if you can't visualize it, it makes it very difficult to trade it and make money, right? Because you'll start listening to all these stupid theories like random stuff and this stuff, and you'll start over trading, and because you just have no appreciation for the business. And how could you? Because nobody's taught it to you, right? And that's what we do at the Trading Syndicate is we try and teach you the underlying business. You don't have to know how to make a market. You don't have to know how to clear stock across borders. You don't have to know how to do arbitrage. But you should understand that it's a business and sometimes that business is slow. So what do you do when business is slow? You prepare for when business gets better, right? Well, yeah, definitely there's a clue, and I talk about this every day. Do you see these candles here, Avalon? Do you see these candles here? Do you see these candles here? Right? That's telling you when the candles are tiny and grouped together closely, right? And they're in tiny groupings, that means business is slow, right? So there's this, or there's this. Which would you rather trade? Hey, John, what would you rather trade? Would you rather trade this, or would you rather trade this? Right? You want to trade this. You don't want to trade this. Hey, RC, what's going on? Exactly. You with me, Avalon? Practical information. Yeah, sometimes overnight is really slow, right? Sometimes it's really slow. Sometimes you get good trades, right? That's true, Howard. Yeah. Maybe that's a good point. It's hard for people to get sometimes business is slow because they don't work in business. If you have a 9 to 5, every day is the same, right? You're right. Pretend you worked at 7-Eleven and it's 3 in the morning, right? There's nobody in the store. And then somebody comes in, some drunk guy comes in to buy cigarettes, right? Or any kind of store, right? You think about the flow of customer traffic. That's what order flow means. It's a very good point, Howard. Yeah, working 9 to 5 in an office job, yeah, it was slow, right? It's hard for people to visualize that. Right? I get it. Well, John, what's the date, John? You're joining us late. What's going on, man? Okay, now is the time that you need to like put on your situational awareness hat. So reason through it, right? Just got back from Honolulu. Nice. Damn, I miss that place. So, what's up this weekend, John? Anything special about this weekend? London has opened. You might have missed it if you blinked. Right? Look at the date, look at the calendar. That'll be your first biggest clue. Oy. Okay. It's the end of the month, John. Remember what I always talk about month end? Month end, long weekend. It's as simple as that, right? It's Labor Day, right? Someone has lost track of time and dates because he's retired now. He doesn't even know what day of the month it is anymore. See, there's a good thing is at least you're enjoying your retirement, John. Right? You don't even know what day of the month it is. Right? Which means good. It means you're truly relaxing, right? Right? You're truly relaxing. You don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. Right? It's just you and the cats hanging out. That's the dream life, right? That's the dream, my friend. Just hanging out with the cats in the jungle, right? Yeah, so it's the end of the month. Nobody's going to do any work. It's the largest holiday end of the summer in the US, right? If not for you guys, I sure as hell wouldn't be in front of the screens at 8 o'clock in the morning with a range that is what, lows 83, you know, like seriously. You know, what the low is 83, the high is 89, so you got a 6 point range, right? If not for you guys, I would not be in front of the screen right now, right? In fact, I prefer not to be in front of the screen during month end at all. That last month end when I was in Spain was the best month end I had in 33 years. I didn't have quotes. I didn't have internet. I had a cell phone with bad reception. And on month end, I walked on the beach and I didn't know what was happening and I could care less. It was the best month end I've had in 33 years, right? The dream is to make enough money where you don't work the last couple of days of the month, right? Yeah, right? So, yeah, see, you're enjoying retirement. But when you get into trading mode, right? When you get into trading mode, you have to pay attention to the end of the month, large US holidays. That's going to affect how the markets trade. That way you don't get desperate and do stupid things and overtrade, right? Like right now, there's nothing to do. And because I run a trading room, the last thing that I should be telling people is not to trade. But guess what? I'm one of those idiots with a conscience. So I don't like to see people needlessly lose money, right? So that's why I tell people, right? You know, hey, London futures trader, take it easy with the software stuff, okay, brother? Right? You don't need to use Jigsaw to trade. All you need is a 1 minute candle chart, right? And it'll tell you when to trade, when not to trade, right? You guys, people who are in the stream, just remember that all of this software that these people are talking about, all you need is just simple execution software and a simple candle chart, right? It's it's a huge waste of money to spend a lot of money on trading software, right? So save your money, learn your skill. That's my thing, right? I've seen a lot of people who have gone out and bought expensive software, and has it helped them become profitable? No. All it's done is it's helped them confuse themselves to the point, is it a relative cost? It's an unnecessary cost. How about that? Why would you spend $1,000 for trading software if you can't figure out what's going on in the business using a simple candle chart? Right? Don't get sucked into all that stuff. And London Futures Trader, quit clogging up the chat with that stuff, man. Okay? Try and put in, yeah, you know what? Keep it up, Futures Trader, and you can go do your own stream, man. These people want help. They don't want opinions, and they don't want, right? They want to know when to trade. They want to know when to do business. Give them some useful information. Otherwise, don't clog up my chat, right? I'm trying to be nice and I'm trying to be patient with you, but I really don't understand what your motivation is other than you're trying to be smart. Cut it out, okay? All right. So London is opened. The London low could not take out the previous half-hour low, and we still have a poor low in the overnight. So let's see if we can go and take out the 88s and the 89s. That's okay. I just don't want people, you know, because there are people come to this chat to try and learn. They don't come to this chat to be sold software or indicators, or stuff that, they just want to try and make a living, right? Nice work, Jerry. You bought some at 84 off of the middle of the zone, right? We've got a seller up here. I haven't even stuck VWAP on my chart this morning. Right. And folks who want to ask questions, don't be intimidated by the chat, okay? If you want to ask a question, please go ahead and ask, right? I want to use this time to help you guys understand a little bit. Now, if you guys ended up getting long, like TradeMaker's long, what, 84? Right? And we got over VWAP. So let's see if we can get up to 88 and a half. Hey, Chungming, how are you doing? What is a spike base in market profile terms? Good question. A spike base occurs, in that last half hour of trading from 3:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? what occurs is when the M high takes out the existing high of the day, anyone who was short underneath that level, right? That's where their stop was going to be, right? So that's where the shorts are trapped, and it's what we call an end of the day price spike. So what we do is, on liquidation, if we ever get any, right? If this thing liquidates, that N low and that L high, your target would be in here if you were short. Okay? Martin, ES is the only product I trade because I like to trade one thing well, not 3 or 4 things poorly. So I'm a trader who needs to focus. I like to focus on one product. I like to trade it every day. So I know when not to trade it. I get to really, really know the market. And it's all I need to trade to make a living. Right? Now, I'm not saying don't trade multiple markets, but I'm saying until you are consistently profitable in one market, don't hop around. Right? Hope that helps. And Testino is asking, Sierra Chart subscription. There are free platform options, right? I love Sierra. It's a pain in the butt to learn, right? But it's rock solid stable, right? And I've been using them since the beginning. And it's only like $50 or $100 a month. It's not that bad, right? Um, I've just, it's force of habit too, right? I've been using it now since 2012. So I've been using it for 13 years. Pretty happy with it, right? But whatever you're comfortable with, Tostino, right? If there are free platform options that you're doing well on, don't change, right? If you're making money and you enjoy the software that you're using and you have a good working knowledge of it and you can use it without, where you've trained yourself, right? Go ahead. Yeah, for one thing, Martin, I find that if I'm superficial in a market, I'm not going to make any money. I have to really dig down, right? I have to dig in really deep. Otherwise, and be disciplined about it. Otherwise, it's just, I'm not profitable at all. The only thing that helped me get profitable after going through looking at indicators, looking at patterns, looking at what everybody else told me to do, the only thing that worked for me was discipline. Figuring out a trade setup that makes sense, that's simple. So when the market hits that setup, right? What's a trade setup? One is the look below and fail. Market looks below a level, right? And the sell orders take a market underneath a level. Those sell orders complete. The market re-enters above that level. You buy, you put your stop here, and you sell into strength, right? Or a look above and fail, so you short, put your stop here, cover here, right? Very simple trades, so I can focus on execution, right? Do those trades thousands of times, right? Until you get comfortable doing those trades in different types of markets, fast markets, slow markets, right? So you understand when to put the trade on, when not to put the trade on, right? It's the only way I've been able to learn and to be disciplined about it. The other thing is, if I can't figure something out, I don't trade. So I'm not going to just go try this or go try that. The trade has to fit the terms and conditions under which I do business. So I have certain terms and conditions that exist, which is a fancy way of saying a trade setup, right? And when those terms and conditions are met, that's when I will execute. But until those terms and conditions are met, I have no problem sitting and watching. That keeps you from over trading. That keeps you from FOMO, revenge trading, all of that, and getting into those psychological spirals. So, how about we use trading psychology in a practical way before you blow up your account and slap a little knowledge in with some trading psychology? Like, you know when to do business, you know when not to do business. Now you've removed 80% of your trouble because 80%, 90% of traders are doing business at times they shouldn't be, right? So if you eliminate that, you've just taken out a ton of bad trades because you didn't need to trade. Make sense? Simple, practical information. That's what we do at the Trading Syndicate. We don't try and sell you some hokey software, right, or an indicator, right? We want to help real people make real money, and we want you to keep it, right? So you don't go into these up and down equity swings and spirals, right? So you just become consistently profitable. And The Wheeler Dealers is a great movie if you want to learn about the stock market. It's one of the best movies out there. And it's funny too. Let's go test this poor low again. See if it breaks, right? Right? Trading should be simple. Not easy, but simple. Nice short, mother truck. Saw that seller at 88, 87 and a half. Good for you guys who are trading and grinding it out. There's a nice little rotation here. Probably right to there, right? Little balance. Hey, $10. You're buying Slurpees. How much is a Slurpee now? Let's see if we could take out that overnight low. Here we go. Another double bottom. Right? There's competitive buying down there under 83 because the people got trapped short under 77. They're front running that 83 level, which means they're jumping ahead of the line and paying more so they can actually buy because all night nobody's needed to sell under 83, right? Or 83 and a quarter. Come on, let's break that thing. So if it holds, right? Everybody's thinking it's going to break, right? There, it just broke. We still have a poor low. It's one tick. And it only printed 3 contracts there. Let's see. Every time we go and put in a new low, it seems to bring in more buying. So if you think of that low, what we need now is for those shoppers pushing up against 82 to back off down to 81 and the market can go hit the 81 bids. But right now, it's just kind of going back and forth and it reflects how slow. Hey, there you go, 40 bucks. Now you're buying Slurpees and corn dogs. There we go. Whew. Beautiful. Finally. Did it take 8 hours for that low to break? Whew. Amazing. Nice work, AZS. Well done. Can't take out that 81 just yet. Now let's see if we get any follow through selling. That would be nice. Because I want to see what's lurking down here. 79, 80. Nice work, RC. Considering its number one constituent in ES, do I care about NVIDIA earnings? Does it affect how you would position? No. I don't. My trades usually last no longer than 5 minutes, Testino. That way I don't have to ever be beholden, right? Good stuff, Blade Man. Way to battle it back, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm interested to see how they're doing, but I would not position myself ahead of an earnings announcement. You know, the thing is, retail traders, you guys don't have, and I, as a retail trader, we don't have a lot of margin for error, right? So, like, if you're a hedge fund guy or you're a big prop trader and you're trading a couple of $100 million and you're offside 10, 20 grand, it's not a big deal. But if you're a retail person and you work for a living, if you're offside, $3,000 to $5,000 on a trade, it doesn't really make economic sense, right? So I tend to avoid those kinds of situations. I only do business when it suits my terms and conditions. Does that make sense, Testino? Right now, this is a potential look below and fail of 81. So if the market accepts over 81, you're long up to 83, 86, right? Let's see if we get some more selling. It'd be nice to get some more selling. Oh, look, there's an aggressive seller at 81. That's good, right? As a retail trader, I mean, unless you're trading with tens of millions of dollars, right? Maybe your last name is Rockefeller or you've got a money tree in your backyard, and that's perfectly okay, right? Your margin for error, as a retail trader is razor thin. It's very small. So you want to limit the amount of trades to ones that actually have a snowball's chance in hell of making money. Does that make sense? That's why all this FOMO trading and YOLO trading and all that stuff, it doesn't make any sense financially. But it doesn't stop people from doing it, but it just does makes no sense. So since you have limited amount of capital, you would think that people would only trade when the conditions are right. The problem is when you're sitting in front of the computer and your spouse is going, "Have you made any money?" And you say, "No." "Well, what are you doing sitting there? Go get a job," right? Of course, that's going to influence people. They put pressure on themselves, and then boom. As soon as you get desperate, as soon as you put pressure on yourself to make money in this business, we got you. You're an easy mark, right? You're the sucker at the table. Hey, look, we're into those single prints. Let's see if we get a reaction. Right? So remember I said if that low breaks, right, your target's 79, right? Don't let all that stuff get to you, folks, right? You know, be a greedy bastard. Don't succumb to all that stuff. Iron will. You'll only take trades when the setup is there. When your setup is not there, you don't care what anybody says, right? How much money they pretend that they're making, you just leave that alone and stay in your lane. Focus on your business. Handle your business. Don't let anybody get you knocked off course, okay? Right? The other thing is when you're sick, when you're stressed out, if you got issues at home, don't trade because you won't be able to compartmentalize, right? Protect your mental capital and protect your physical capital in a ruthless manner, right? Let's see if we can get down to 77, right? Be ruthless. This is your business. You put a lot of money into it. You put your time into it. You put your soul into this when you're trying to learn to do it because it's soul crushing. Don't let that just go, right? That's good liquidation. That's good liquidation. I was watching 78. I'm watching these 1 hour candles as an experiment. I've been doing it since yesterday. And I've got, as these levels, I've got 64.78 and then 72 quarter and 68 quarter. We'll see if that actually holds. Anyway, I'm done for the morning. Sorry, it's a bit preachy, but it's helpful, hopefully. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good morning. Stay out of trouble. And we'll see you at 9 o'clock for our next session at thetradingsyndicate.org. Thank you, everyone. Trade smart out there, okay? Bye for now.